Wow. Hey everybody, this is Dov from DKE Toys, and you are watching DKE Toys TV. Woohoo!
Hooray!
Our guest host for today is George Gaspar from Double G Toys.
That's me.
We have our regular hosts, Chris Ryder, also known as Janky or Janky Toys, and the ever-present Scott Cherry, also known as Barbarian Rage. Anyway, well, we have a special show today. Today is the Boba Fett Bootleg show. So just for anyone new tuning in, everything we're showing are made by artists, and while they borrow from the sort of the ethos of bootleg toys, they're not exactly, pirated toys that someone has tried to, recreate in order to fool consumers. What we're really showing you is a collection of art. Everything here is made by an individual artist. We're going to give you a little bit of history. And this is by far not like the best of show. This is just the first Boba Fett show. There will be many more, I'm sure, that we could probably do like 5 or 10. Boba Fett is ever present in the scene. And not only that, it's in some circles, it's sort of considered passé. Like it's sort of the thing that everyone has done at one point, like a Boba Fett joke. And we're going to sort of run the gamut from like the cheap puns all the way to like, people's artistic expression and all that. There are several pieces that we have here that are available in our store at dketoys.com. But not everything, and not everything that we're going to show you are actually things that we would actually sell, because of what we call the transformative properties of the art that we sell. So any artist using a Star Wars logo or using something that is too literal, in our opinion, we generally wouldn't sell that. We try to only sell stuff made by artists who've really sort of transformed the piece, made it a work of parody, made it political commentary, some sort of mashup, something where they've taken stuff from pop culture, which is, acceptable, but turned it around enough that they've sort of made it their own. And that's because DKE Toys sells the stuff, and we don't want anyone to come knocking on our door. So without further ado,
I've got a real quick question, Doug, because
further ado,
George, with further ado, George, you love Boba Fett, right?
I have a fondness for the original Boba Fett.
What is it about this? I'm always curious to hear from people that like Boba Fett. I mean, he's on your arm, so there's got to be some level of appreciation. What is it about Boba Fett?
For me, it was the action figure. There was something about the fact that he had a jetpack on him. Meant that I could take that figure with me everywhere, and he flies. So he just flies with me wherever I go as a kid. So like that figure was probably one that I played with the most because of that. And I like the character, I guess, in the movie he's barely in it, so he doesn't really even matter. But as far as my play of that toy, that's why the tattoo is the toy. Like it's not so much the character from the movie or Boba Fett himself as like a character, but the toy is what I have the fondness for. And it's basically just because he was probably my most played with one.
Because when you're playing with the toy, he actually knows how to use his jetpack and not just like launch into the side of the sail barge and die.
Exactly. I mean, he had that cool missile on his wrist. Like that thing was cool. Like you could pretend you're shooting that thing. He's got the rocket that makes him fly. You've got like he just had like spikes on his toes for kicking people. Like he had everything that was cool about him, so it was like that. It just made him a cool toy to play with. But then like they really enhanced him when they made that TV show, and then they just drove home how great that character was. He was just like he was just a really nice dude that just wanted to help people. Like it was
Right.
cool. Always took his helmet
Yeah.
off, so like you didn't have that in the way anymore. Like they did a lot
But
of great
look,
things.
you know, these guys that live a life of crime in their older age, they get soft.
Yeah, they like to give people
It happens.
chances. They like to help people, help kids out in the community. He's a really good guy. Turns out.
Right. I especially like the kids on those colorful like Vespas.
Oh my
Yeah.
god! Yeah.
I mean that made the story for me. But anyway, without any
further ado,
Further
is
ado.
there any more ado?
I got one more ado.
Oh,
The
I
book
like
of ado.
damn it.
I like that this isn't the best of, just the first of. I like that as a title. This is not the best of, the first of.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I suggested that we start at the most lowest hanging fruit, and then we go all the way to high art.
Are we going to
But,
put mine in
the-
here?
which is yours?
I mean, I've never said that I made one, but like I made one.
Maybe one day it will sneak into the show and then you can reveal that it was you or you could not.
No, I'm fine revealing it. I don't care. I made one.
Oh, are you now? I spent a lot of time keeping your fucking secret, dude.
Well, the secret's out. It's over.
Next show.
This is how we're gonna
then.
get viewers. This is like, you know, this is Capone's safe here. This is a big deal.
I
I'm fine
emailed
if you-
myself over the weekend to make a note to pull that one for next time.
when you get to it, you are allowed to say it was me. I'm fine with that out.
Do we need to talk about this now? I think we
No.
should talk about this on the episode where we show your fucking toy.
All right, go ahead. Let's-
I'll
no more
wait
ado.
for-
No more ado.
No more ado. Okay,
I promise.
so I've been selling Star Wars toys and other collectibles for 30 years now.
You don't say.
Since I was 18, I'm 50. I don't know. It's 32 years. Long time. It started out strictly being Star Wars, anything Star Wars, and now we buy, houses and estates full of stuff with all sorts of nonsense. Doesn't matter. Comic books, trading cards, video games, vinyl records, whatever. Crazy stuff comes through the doors here. But around 2004 is when the designer toy market sort of the designer toys market started around 1999 or 2000 with like Michael Lau and Cause. By 2004, it was on my radar. And 2005, we're in business as a distributor. And one of the early people that I contacted based on an email from an artist named Frank Kozik, who sent me just a link to a message board. And I contacted this guy named the Sucklord. And so this here is the Sucklord 66. This is his very first figure. There's only about 50 in the world.
Wait, so it's Kozik's fault that you know the Sucklord?
It was
That's amazing.
Kozik's suggestion. Yeah, actually, I'm going to take this.
That's really
out of
cool history. I didn't know that.
the case here. I mean, Kozik was the one that vouched for me for most people to like take me seriously. Like he was. So anyway, this is the first piece that he made. I think they retailed about $40 or $50 back then. And I contacted him and I bought a bunch of them. And I actually put them, I was selling in an antique mall at the time. And I put a bunch of these in the antique mall along with the Gay Empire figure, which is, I think, probably the figure that he's most well known for. But this was it. Like, this is how he dressed up at conventions. And I recently listened to, there's a 6-part interview with him on Toys on Tap, and he runs through this whole great history if you want to listen to it. But these were handmade. It's the first edition, probably the second edition he ever cast. He made I think a previous piece that was not an action figure, but this was a Count Dooku figure with a cape and a Boba Fett helmet. Maybe it was Jango Fett even, so maybe it doesn't even belong on this show. But anyway, I don't know.
They're
Here's
the
the
same.
back. Here's the back of it. It says, "You're an asshole for buying this." And if you're lucky enough to have one of these handmade crappy treasures, they sell anywhere between $1,000 and $2,000 these days.
It's a good
So
little increase in
that is the history. And I would say for anyone just exploring the scene out there, if you Google the Suck Lord and you go to his website, suckadelic.com, he's sort of the godfather of the scene. And as far as we know, he's the first person who really made an action figure and called it art. There were definitely people customizing toys before then, but he was the first that made an edition, signed it, called it, art. And now there's, I don't even know, in my database, there's probably 300 artists that we've worked with in the past 20 years doing this, making resin action figures, but there's even more. I have to, my estimation is probably like 400 or 500 artists in the scene right now.
Wow.
And some come and go, of course, and some people do other things and every once in a while decide to make a figure. But anyway, moving on.
I've got two Suckler things to show real quick because I don't collect a lot of
Yeah.
Boba Fett, but these two are two of my very favorite figures. These were the prizes that were given out at the 2014 Decon if you ended up on stage with the Sucklord in his marathon. And I'm a big Broncos fan, so I've got the John Elway and Terrell Davis. And it's just, I mean, talk about entry point. It's taking a, starting lineup figure, knocking the head off and putting something else on it. But these two, I don't think there's a lot of these around because you had to be on stage to get them. And I've just always loved those two figures.
Those are some of my favorites. They're so simple. As I get starting lineup figures in collections that are in bad shape, I usually rip the figures off the card and I throw them in a box, just for the time where I can send it to him to do another project like that. Because all he did was took all the heads of all his different characters and put them on the bodies, and those work of genius. All right, so I'm going to start with this Masters of the Universe inspired piece by Victor's Vintage. Victor is from Iceland.
Hey, Victor.
That is the best. Anybody that's going to get banned from PowerCon is awesome in my book.
Wow. That's a story for another day, but yes.
The story
Yeah.
on the YouTube channel. If you go find Victor's interview, that is all detailed there.
He didn't sign this piece. This is not a piece that we ever sold. I always encourage all of these guys to sign and number all of their work, but he really nailed the vintage color palette and the card, and actually getting these He-Man blisters is also quite a feat.
It's difficult, yeah.
This piece here was by Has No Talent Bootlegs. This was one of our exclusives for Decon back in the day. He also released
that, yeah.
Yeah, it's the Teenage Mutant Mandalorian Turtles.
How did you pick the ones that were going to be on today's first of?
It was random. Don't judge
Yes.
me.
We did pick out 5 pieces that were available on the site currently, and then we just sort of went through, and it,
Just digging
is what it
through
is.
those boxes.
He did do a follow-up release to this that had the other 2 turtles on it, so you'd have to get both of them to get all 4. I don't remember what- yeah.
Are those missiles?
Yeah,
does
they're
it have
like
the-
missiles.
Oh,
It's actually
okay.
rocket firing. Yeah.
And do they
These-
have the little spring-loaded?
Yes,
Looks like it, yeah.
they do. They
Wow,
do
yeah.
shoot rockets, which is really cool.
Mhm.
And it's numbered out of 20 on the back, and he's got.
But
a
in order
bullet.
to shoot the rocket, you got to rip the whole thing apart.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
It's funny that Boba Fett is used by so many people because he's one of the worst ones to work with because of that backpack. So he
That
doesn't
backpack,
sit
the
right in the
missile.
card. It never you can't get him to sit flat on the card and look nice because he's always turned to a side because his backpack is there. So unless you were to make a nice tray for him or something, they always just turn to the side and it's a pain in the butt. So it's funny that he became this most used dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of undercuts in his sculpt too. When you're
Yeah.
casting. You can get bubbles real easy in a Boba Fett.
So speaking
Oh,
of the figure
Stella Fett.
that you're trying to get to face forward, which this one doesn't. This is the Skelefet by Delicious Again Peter from the United Kingdom. And
That's
again, most of these pieces are signed and numbered on the back.
Oh, I met that dude.
He's great.
Yeah,
I
he's
really like the
wonderful.
paint job
Yeah.
on that figure too. I love that the card back has the marker coloring, but then the paint job on the figure is really great. The weathering and the
And then the illustrator was Paul Draper, who's done a lot of card illustration for a lot of different artists. But
That looks really cool.
yeah, he did a nice job. And
Fear and Loathing Scott Cherry right now. Look at him.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, we
I've
have
reached the age
Boba
where I
Fett's.
gotta have to look at and everything on screen is like this big and
You need to get an iPad or something to watch the show on.
this is one that's on the site right now at dketoys.com if anyone wants one. This is the Iron Skin Grin. This is the Boba Fett,
Cartoon.
the cartoon animated colorway. Previous to that, this was edition of 50. They're all signed and numbered by Ron English on the back, which is a big deal. And then
Nice.
this is the previous edition in sort of the regular green colors.
Yeah, I dig those colors.
That is now sold out. I believe these were $100 when they came out. And then we have by Medusa's Wild, we have Fire Fett. And Fire Fett is supposed to be like a calendar. It says Mr. November, and the back is fantastic because it has
Like a fireman's calendar
all
pinup.
the fire.
all of the
It's such a non sequitur of a toy that I love it. Like it's like
Yeah.
think of all the Boba Fett jokes and what are people say. I never would have thought of sexy fireman Boba Fett.
Yeah, I remember when that came out. I love that one.
really
That's
fantastic
sold out, right?
piece. No, this one is in stock on the site. So this is the next piece, Space Warps by
Yeah,
Magoob
I
Toys
love
from
this,
Canada.
man.
So much.
And the Space Warps is just a fantastic line. He found the crappiest scanning software that he could find on his iPhone and scanned a vintage Boba Fett and then came up with this. How would you describe this? This lo-fi, blobby. I mean, he didn't make it worse than it needed to be. It's just that was the extent of the software. And
See that's what I love about that one too is he didn't just like slop the paint on either. Like it would be very easy to just be like, but it's actually pretty thoughtful the way that he put all that together. That's hard to do, to make stuff look messy and but
clean.
still
and not
Yes.
have the randomness, but look like someone was actually trying.
yes.
And
Absolutely.
conceptually, because like it's literally it's a photocopy of a toy is what he's making. It's like a low, like crappy
Yes.
photocopy of a toy. And he follows that through. The card design is like photocopy with pen scribbles, and just the entire concept in this is flawless. I love these figures.
Yeah.
As
Yeah,
I was handling it, the little
Oh, you lost your Chad.
my Chad fell
punched. Now
out.
it's
It
punched.
is,
down.
it's no longer unpunched. I'm so sad.
Now it's only
Put it back in. No one will know.
It's true.
Oh man. All right. So then something that gets a lot of groans, in the scene is when there is there's a lot of figures that are based on puns. So artists will just come up with the pun and then make the figure. And this one by Mug Costanza is by far this is Fetty Van Halen. And it's just
It's a
It
dad
just-
joking toy form. I love it.
it's magic. There you go.
From
Signed it
Guitar
on the
Wars too,
back.
which is pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know what he used as the head.
Which
but
I would say, yeah.
that screaming head.
Mork?
I don't know, but it's just fantastic.
I was thinking Mork too, but I think it's just because of the red. I think it might just be the color.
The color is bringing it, yeah. Because
And
Mork
then-
doesn't have an open mouth, that's for sure.
The one thing that Mug does on the back of his cards is he always does this little museum card as if it was hanging in a museum.
Nice.
So it is,
Yeah.
hand cast resin, lacquer, paper, cardstock,
So
with like the medium. It's just a fantastic piece. This was
You
something
need to
that we
put the little
sold.
red sticker on it for sold.
Yeah. Mocha's
Boom.
looking for a Eddie Van Halen Star Wars crossover.
This one is called.
I like that piece.
yeah.
Notice I
It's-
didn't groan.
This is Hobo Fett by Manly Art.
I've never seen this piece.
You've never seen Hobo Fett?
No.
It was from his
From
Pimp
Big
2D2's
Score, yeah.
big score, and he had previously made Pimp 2D2 and C3P Ho.
Right.
What else? Darth Dealer and R5D420.
I've never seen that one either. How did I miss those figures in this line?
And then he actually made a
Didn't they?
he made us a land speeder. He found some old land speeders and he made like the pimp speeder there.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Jason Chalker, also known as Manly Art, just fantastic painter. He painted this image. I think
There's
that,
way too much work in that figure. Like,
yeah, I mean, so and he's actually one of the very few artists in the scene. So for those of you who are not familiar with the scene, most artists, there's so many different disciplines that are involved in making a figure, from either sculpting, kit bashing, mold making, casting, painting, assembling, painting a card back if you're going to paint it, graphic design, printing, assembling, doing the logistics for all your parts. He's the one unicorn in the scene that can do everything.
Yeah.
Because he can sculpt, he can paint, he can kind of do it all, and really fantastic piece.
I'm pretty sure there's one other person that I know that can do all that, but
Oh yeah, who's that?
George.
wrong.
Yeah,
Hobo Fett was released 2016 at New York Comic Con.
there you
Wow.
go.
Was that
Now,
the squeegee in his rocket? Sorry.
Yeah.
I just
Yep.
put two and two together that his squeegee was in his rocket pack. That's pretty damn great.
Well, look at his leg.
Look how nicely painted that is, and nice it is. Is that a full
Yeah.
cast?
Yeah, the execution on it is awesome.
And he comes with his little cardboard sign.
How much was that though? Like $300? Like you can't
I don't remember. Maybe it was like $80 or
you can't make money selling that figure.
No, they probably
Well,
took
I
him like,
also
You can't count your
The-
time. you only,
the-
you only
That's all you got.
I know.
It was
But the-
$90.
I
Not you.
think the thing that would take the most time is all of the completed figures that are photographed on the back.
hmm.
That home
Yeah.
to make it all look complete, that they have all of the other figures on the back. Which
It's like a
were all of
crazy
those
piece.
released?
Yes, all of those had previously come out
Wow.
and sold out. Now,
Boba Fett, who is experiencing homelessness.
Unhoused.
That's what they say on the news.
Yes.
Experiencing
Homelessness.
Unhoused. The unhoused.
Yeah,
The
unhoused.
So
Yeah.
here's one by
We
Good
don't
for
call
You.
them hobos anymore. I'm offended, quite honestly.
Jeez. This is Django Uncloned
Yeah.
That looks
by Good for You
awesome.
Toys. And for those
Awesome.
of you who don't know, our very own Ian is a member of the Good for You Toys clan. And this was the first in the line. They'd made several characters from Django mashed up with Star Wars characters. I think what I really loved is this was one of the first figures that really nailed, like George was talking about being a fan of the Kenner toy and not necessarily the character in the movie, but that the Kenner toy was awesome. And they're the first one that I recall that really nailed this color scheme, like really got those, found the Pantone colors, really just mixed the paint, got it. And then this was
That
addition.
resin was hard to do.
That's right. This is not even painted, so that
Oh,
Yeah,
means
that's resin.
Wow.
you were able to cast it and really match that Kenner, whatever that color is. That that
Are you
piece of
serious?
blue.
That's not painted?
That's crazy.
100%.
The pieces on it,
Wow.
but the base color is cast in that color, which gives it, when you cast resin in a color rather than painting it, it gives it a completely different feel.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Also, having cast several hats myself, hats are a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're casting this crazy matched gray
So-
color with a brim. Yeah, that is.
And then you get that
tough piece.
an air hole right here.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
Yeah.
notice no backpack, so he sits nice and flat.
right.
Yeah. It says, not a toy, not for kids. This is an art collectible for your shelf or wall, ages 80 plus.
In a
Good.
few years, Dov, you can have it.
Yeah. This is one that is on the site right now. There's one of these left,
You're so
I
cool.
believe.
Wow.
This is Lux Hunter by Joshua Hoagland. It's an edition of 10. They're $250. And Joshua had been making figures for us for a while. And when we did our interview with him, that's on here on DKE Toys TV during pandemic, you can check the other interviews on our YouTube channel. He revealed that his first artistic discipline that he was involved in, I think he works in video games now, but he worked in studios doing stained glass. And I was like, dude, you need to make stained glass figures. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm not doing that. That's too much work. And then we talked about it, and he really just, he cast the Boba Fett in clear. This is the blister that he got from us, which, if you can see, he made little twisted metal pieces that held it, and he just nailed the vintage colors.
Yeah.
I wish I had I show this to you even.
I love the hole punch at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just all the detail. It's really well thought out. The design is good. The execution is beautiful. And this is one of those pieces too at DCon, when it was on the table, a lot of people would double take and like walk back. They'd pass the table and then step back to look at that piece.
Because you're not sure what's going on, and then you
Yeah.
realize that an artisan has actually like made a piece of stained glass, and matching these colors was just, because you look at it from far away and you're like, oh, those are Boba Fett colors. Like
Registers immediately. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really great piece.
And it's funny because like you're in a room and it doesn't read as well as when you like I have that hanging in my office at work because I have a window to outside and it just hangs in the window, and it's amazing. Like it looks like when the light's passing through it, it's just incredible.
So cool.
This is another piece that is on the site right now by a artist named Fat O from
Fat O!
Thailand. Look at that, baby.
His
this
detail
one,
just
I love them.
so good.
it's called Puffy Fett.
Is this the guy that does all the jackets?
Yeah.
All
All
the
the
jackets, yeah.
It's such a
The
strange thing to have been like, I'm going to be the puffy jacket guy, but like it's awesome.
Like this is one of my favorite ongoing series ever because they're so bizarre but so like perfectly executed.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about backpacks, so originally he sent the backpacks. Most of them broke. And then we realized that this is just an issue that all toy makers have, is like, how do toys that come from China have an inner tray in them? And in the blisters that people acquire, we at DKE, we make blisters also. People have to decide whether, their figure can bounce around and not get hurt, which is an okay thing to do. And there's other people that have to glue the card down. And if you see on this droids colorway here, Boba Fett's glued down, doesn't bounce around. But on the very first one that Whitney Mitchell sculpted, she did the backpack, right? Which, it's like you can't even see all the detail of the backpack. So we just decided to forego it on the second edition. But so he showed up with backpacks, and we're like, he sent us these zip ties, and he's like, hey, this is something that artists do in other countries. Instead of making us 100 of these, which is the edition, he made 100. Can you imagine shipping these from Thailand, 100 of them, right?
Yeah.
It would just be a disaster. So he ships 100 cards to us. We have the blisters, and he ships 100 figures that can all fit in one small box. And then this one uses a zip tie, but that zip tie, we would not be able to use a zip tie if the backpack was on there. So what we ended up doing is he made this little guy. And then
That's
you just
awesome.
you just get your a little accessory pack to just give to people free.
It
with
looks
each
like a little
one.
GI Joe jet too. It's
It
fun.
totally does
Yeah.
look the X-Men, the Blackhawk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
And
Can I say
um,
the card art on that is spectacular. I don't know where if he did it or where he got that done.
I think he does it. I think he does all of this. Like it just really
nuts.
fantastic.
Well, and the fact that
I
his
mean,
runs are
you could
always
sell that print.
yeah, yeah. And his runs are always 50 to 100 figures, and the amount of detail in those figures, I mean, that's got to take him forever.
It's true. 100 figures is probably the max edition that we ever do. Most things, like the minimum requirement for a DKE show, like 15 or 20 pieces. That's pretty daunting for, most artists to paint the same figure 15 times or 20 times. But
100 toys is a lot. It's
That's
a
a lot.
lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Dude's-
Did you buy
dude's
hand?
an-
Yeah.
Yeah.
dude's an animal. Like he just, I don't know, he's a machine. I
They're
don't know what else to say.
consistent and they're clean. I mean, he's
You'd
fat
have
dude.
to be.
Amazing.
You'd have to
I have a
be.
question for you, and
Sure.
Dov, you can't probably jump on this because you don't want to insult anybody by giving
Mhm.
an answer. How do you guys feel about like if this is an art piece you're making and this is like you're putting your name on it? Is it okay to use another artist in the thing? Like if you have somebody do the card back and you're just doing the figure, like is the whole thing your art or is like the figure your art, or how does that work? Like Scott, you've used other artists, right? Like
Yeah, I want to credit the artist that does it. Like I collaborated with someone in the UK. I had him put the name on the artwork because I was going to have it printed here, and I was not going to have him shipped over there for him to sign. But I always give credit to the artist,
I mean, I think
whether or not they sign it or not.
So we talked about this with Manly Art and him being one of the few artists like Scott that can really do everything. Most artists cannot. I mean, there's a lot of people who can cast and who can paint figures and design figures, but sculpting is not their thing. That's why a lot of figures that you see are kit bashed. So there might be Ian could chime in. Like I think that is
A Lone
that's
Ranger.
the Lone Ranger right there with a vintage Fett,
Yep.
Kenner Fett, and then is that a cowboy hat?
That's the Lone Ranger's hat.
That's the Lone Ranger's hat. So there are,
Ian
I was
out.
going to guess Boss Hog.
close.
where this one, this was one of George's counterparts, Whitney Mitchell, who he referred us to, who sculpted this. This is sculpted from scratch.
Wow.
And you can see that it doesn't have the joints. It's just like a mini statue, as opposed to this one that you can see, even though those are not working limbs, like that was cast from a vintage toy. So my personal view, and I don't think I'm offending anyone in saying this, is that this is primarily a conceptual medium. And there are some artists in the scene who come up with an idea and who, hands-on can't do very much, but they get someone to sculpt it, they get someone to paint it, they get someone to do the card art, and it's theirs. And as far as I'm concerned, that's their art. I've talked about this a lot
Takes a
in the
village.
past.
It takes a village,
But being a creator of something, if you direct a movie, this is the example I always use. If you're a director, what do? You just give your opinion all the time. Most directors don't know how to do the lighting. They don't know how to do sound. Hopefully they have some idea of editing, operating the camera. Maybe some can. Most of them can't do special effects. Some don't even write. Like that's not what, and that's something I think Andy Warhol perfected. Like there's a lot of pieces that he just approved. It came out of the factory. He signed it. Those pieces are still worth $5 million. So it doesn't matter. All it matters is the artist came up with the idea, they put their name on it, and they approved it, and they said that this is mine. And I think that's all that it takes. There are people in the scene who are more fans of certain artists because of the amount of work that they do, but conceptually that does not necessarily make the work better.
So people shouldn't be afraid to try this if they just have ideas, but they can't necessarily sculpt themselves or paint themselves or anything like that.
I mean, this Ron English piece is made in-house here at DKE. Like, I contacted Ron English. He sent me this image right here on the back. I had to get Mock Toys to do this design of the card, and Whitney sculpted this. Someone else cast it, someone else painted, but this is a Ron English toy. He signed it.
Yeah,
it's numbered out of 100. Like,
I
Ron
was
English
gonna
is
say,
a painter.
Yeah,
His
the
work,
perfect
he sells-
example. I didn't want to. Yeah, I'm
We
sorry.
talk a lot about the blurring of the line between art and product with what we do. And I think there's a lot of disadvantages to it, but one of the advantages is that it opens up possibility, because toys are product and they're seen as product. And so when you have an art form that mimics products, it's a lot easier to have someone that's an idea person and puts together a team and puts it out and have it still be art, as opposed to, like, poo-pooing the guy that didn't paint every stroke, on the canvas.
and it's not,
Which is fun too.
Also,
and,
yeah.
and this also brings in the whole discussion of AI. Like, when someone uses AI in their work now or in the future as it changes, the person that's going to get credited for the work is the person who hit the button and who, ran the AI 100 times until they got what they wanted and said, this is the one I'm going to put my name on. And so it's
The robots are going to get their revenge for that, though. At some point, they're just going to take over, and they're going to come
Maybe.
in and they're going to say, "You know what? We were cool with you guys, but you stole my Boba Fett, and now, game on, society."
I mean, a lot of the complaints about AI right now is that AI is going around the internet and scooping up all of these creations of other people and then mashing them all up together. And artists are saying, well, that's not fair. Like, I wrote this book, I made this movie, I painted this picture, and now it's doing work that's influenced by that. But that's a bullshit argument, right? Because without Flash Gordon, there'd be no Star Wars. I mean, what is everything that we're, showing now is but derivative work. Someone sees something, they're inspired by it, and then they build on that. And that is all art. There's no writer who wrote a book and didn't read books their entire life and decided they wanted to write too, and then had some influence. It's like, they're like, oh, I didn't know how to read, and then I learned how to read when I was 20, and then I wrote my first book in a vacuum, without experieing any
I
other
think
written work. That's not how it
Snooki from
works.
the Jersey Shore, I think she wrote a book like that.
Yeah. So,
Scott with the Snooki reference. Wow.
yeah,
Timeless. It's timeless.
timeless.
Thank you.
Evergreen.
Yeah.
Evergreen episode.
Said you wanted evergreen.
There you go. All right. So did that answer your question, George?
Yeah, I just wanted to have the discussion.
Yeah, that's good. The next one is from Pumpkin Pop Toys in Argentina, and this is Boba Fett, which is
Wild, man. That is
Yeah.
wild.
The
Speaking
t-shirt
of hard to
she made of that
cast.
is- Yeah, that, and she made a t-shirt of that image, which is
That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, really fantastic piece. This was a signed and numbered edition of how many? I think it was 20.
I couldn't find that info.
It's funny.
Sometimes-
Sometimes like the card is like the great piece, and sometimes the toy is the great piece. It's like very rarely are they both as good.
Sometimes the toy is irrelevant, right? Sometimes it's a placeholder for this amazing concept. And
I mean, look at the stained glass. Like the toy doesn't matter at all. It's just a clear Boba Fett. But
Yeah.
it's not even
I
like
took offense. He's like, "Fuck you guys.
I'm out of here.
You don't know what you're talking about. That idea was genius." Oh, never mind.
But I think that if you get all of that's why I think that toys is a perfect art form. Because you do get a piece of 2D artwork, you can put a message on it, and it comes with a sculpture and
Agreed. Another one of our favorite artists here is Edwin Salas, who made this piece called Boba Wood. So this is on a piece
he's
of
the
wood.
best.
He hand painted these cards, and not only that, he doesn't cast resin. He actually, in this was an edition of 40 pieces. He actually sculpted and fabricated out of wood
Jeez.
40 pieces
Carved
and
40.
painted them.
Wow.
And they're articulated like because he's a trained puppet maker, and he put a little
Yeah.
rubber band in the back here so you can like boo and shoot the rocket.
That's gone.
You just shot Ian's eye out. This is the
Oh.
reason why we didn't do this in the first place.
And then he had his little back here. It says Salus Wars, note to consumer. Originally, we had feared to make a spring-launched rocket, but now you're an adult. We hope you don't injure yourself or your family with this Boba wood. Enjoy.
And the first thing you do is shoot E in the eye.
And you
Yeah,
know,
but now I get to wear an eye patch.
it's just a fantastic style. It's really we have lots of other of his pieces on the site. They're all made out of wood, and he made a big AT-AT out of wood, an edition of 10, just unbelievable.
Plays reggaeton.
He made 10 of those?
Yes,
He made 10? Wow.
it's crazy. We can show that on a show another time. But what else am I trying to say here?
Episode.
On the AT-AT episode. Wow, that's gonna be like, and here's the.
There's like 4 pieces in it.
Actually not. There's
And they're all billions, McMillions, giant.
I'm looking at 4 on the shelf right now.
We
Just
got
with
what?
the
Scott
Ron
C.
English.
Billions. Oh, Oh, yeah.
Ron English I have here, and the Edwin Salas, and the big Bill There's 3 different Bill McMullins, and there's we could hit 10, 15 pieces is my guess.
Stay tuned,
Um,
ladies and gentlemen.
Stay tuned.
Yeah,
Hit the
A boy can-
subscribe button.
a boy can dream.
If you want to see lots of big weird AT-ATs, smash that subscribe.
All right, so Manly Art, who we showed before, who did the Hobo Fett, I think he's the only one who has 2 entries in the show. Something we did at San Diego Comic-Con is, and this is, you can see this Boba was not printed, right? He hand painted each one. Each one is slightly different. Well, what we asked Manly Art to do was to do an edition of 24 Boba Fetts, and these are all hand painted card backs.
These.
Amazing.
And so that's an original painting, and then we sort of ruined the painting by gluing a blister on it.
You did.
Yeah.
You definitely
What
did.
What can I say? Now my goal was to have them done in time so that we could photograph them all, so that all 24 could be pictured on the back, right? Because the problem would be that once you buy yours and it goes away, like when they were at San Diego Comic-Con and they were all on the wall and people could come up and pick the one that they wanted, that was pretty awesome. But once that set was broken up, you didn't get to see it. And so eventually, and these are on the site right now for $10, is we published the zine here.
So good.
And inside
Yeah.
is every single painting that he did,
Unruined.
unruined.
Pristine.
Only the cover is a photo of one with the figure, and then all the ones, it goes all the way to number 24 of 24, and then he did about 10 artist proofs for himself, and then we were short a few. He did a few extra, so AP 1, 2, 3.
Hey, is that mine? Oh, there's mine.
Which one is yours?
Go back a page.
Go back a page.
Back a page. It's that one on the left with the arm out.
Nice.
Nice.
And then the backer card that I always wanted to do that we never did, we actually did on the back of the
That's cool.
So good.
thing.
So
So all
cool.
of them.
Yeah.
This backer card is one of 24 paintings by Jason Chalker, featuring a resin cast of a vintage bounty hunter action figure. Cherish accordingly. Yeah, so it just really, it's just sort of like a study of, an action figure in
Of the
every
best action figure made.
There you go. There is also, yeah, go on.
I was gonna say I knew Jason before I even started doing toys. We did a couple art shows together where we painted the panels on a Boba Fett armor. It's called the Artmore Project, and there was like 50 or 100 people that all like painted onto these like armor panels.
Cool.
Yeah, I remember that show. It was sort of a ripoff of another show.
Could that be the Vader Project?
The one that I was not asked to curate. Yeah, that one.
What's the Vader
Um,
project?
There is, oh, so just so you know, all of the zines, even for your $10 zine, is signed and numbered
Oh
on the
wow.
inside.
He signed
but
1,000 of them.
He did.
Oh, and it's on
I
the
did.
inside page. You had to open 1,000 of them.
He did.
Oh, it's a lot of
But
work.
numbers 1 through 100 have a or the deluxe one with the cardstock covers.
Fancy.
Also signed by Sarah Jo and I. Have the little thing right there, but also come with this beautiful print
Wow.
So
Oh,
good.
cool.
and the bounty hunter sticker card,
Whoa.
and then the bounty hunter this sticker.
Did you sign all 1,000 or did you guys just sign the 100?
100.
Okay.
See, they were smart. They said, JC, do all that heavy
Yeah,
lifting.
because there's all these people in the world that want my autograph that can't get it, and so I figured we'll just sign 100. We'll make our autographs limited. Another artist from Thailand named Tops Toy, not really active right now, did Boba McFly, which is a
Blew up too. These
fantastic
Yeah,
mashup. There were 3 or 4 colorways. There happens to be one of this one on the website that we bought back in a collection. I don't know what the original price was, $65, $75. I think it could be double that now. They're quite expensive. There is one edition that we have in stock right now. There's 4 or 5 left, and that's this white, like Ralph McQuarrie-ish
Prototype.
yeah.
version here.
Even
And
got the skateboard in there.
he's got a skateboard in there. I believe it has magnets, and his blister is openable, so you can. All his blisters are these. He doesn't get his blisters from us. It's somewhere in Thailand. It's really just like a box.
A little gift box thing.
Yeah.
You can open the box and take it out, which is fantastic for shipping. It means you can wrap the figure in something and put it inside, and then it doesn't bounce around when you ship, because resin is a little delicate. And then, oh, look at this on the back. Here's the previous 5 versions
wow.
that are
Wow.
all sold out. So he really milked this one. I mean, people went apeshit.
Went nuts.
Yeah.
Put the
Well, I
droids
think
version
nuts.
down there.
Yeah, the droids version is great.
Droids version, like it. I mean, these artists, they're limited in how many they can make. It's a lot of work, and especially for him, because he's not casting in one piece. A lot of these pieces, you look at this very simple clear casting, cast in one piece. This Ron English one cast in one piece. His is articulated with magnets, so that means that he has. Let's just open it up and see here. So once you start wanting to articulate, then you have to make even
And
more
it's over.
molds. Oh, there's no
Yeah.
magnets in this one. This is a popsicle stick.
Oh
Look
my
at that.
gosh, that's awesome.
It's so awesome, right? So in order to articulate this, it means you have to build your 1, 2, 3.
Oh wow, he actually made pegs. That's not
Oh, wow,
magnets.
yeah.
He made pegs. Okay, so that's 2, 4, 6. That's 7 individual pieces. So basically, you have 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, and then you have to make the torso actually like the vintage Kenner figures in 2 pieces that glue together that hold the arms together so that they can actually articulate. Now, articulating in this scene is not important necessarily, but it's just an extra detail that when artists do it, it's just a huge amount of time. I mean, it's technically 7 times the amount of work
Yeah.
of this.
It's a shortcut to self-loathing.
An easy way out of the scene. Yeah.
I mean, just the amount of sanding, and you got to pull, and then if a mold, sometimes things don't pull out of the mold right, you got to do it again. But 7 times, I don't know.
Always the tiny little pieces, and what is it? The thumb right there.
Oh, the
right,
thumb and the fingers.
thumb.
Got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those little pieces at the end
I've got PTSD right now.
Sorry.
If you go on the site and buy that right now, in the notes, request the screen used one, And Ian will authenticate that this was screen used on DKE Toys TV.
Wow.
Why do you
Someone-
make my job harder?
And then
Oh, there
those
you go.
were
Number 29 out of
Number
50.
29 is screen used.
All right, we got a couple more here. Legion Toys in Argentina did Eddie Fett.
Reaching out of the Sarlacc. Look at that.
Fantastic card art. I think I bought the original for that card art. It's just so good. That was an edition of 15. A lot of artists from Argentina. This is Boba Fett from the Shit Wars series here. Other ones in the series were
the
Lard.
shit war.
Look at him just giving
Lard.
the finger.
Yeah,
Fuck you.
this was a follow-up
Fuck
to
you.
Lard
Yeah.
Vader and Django Fett.
It
It
should be
the-
Fat Wars.
And this is a handmade blister. They had to pull these themselves, like in Argentina,
Wow.
not having access to any of that. So really beautiful piece there.
Shit Wars, Boba Fett. Fuck you.
mhm.
I love it. I love it.
This is from the UK, from Howden Art. This is G.I. Bobo here, which is a nice G.I. Joe.
Look at that drawing.
Interesting. Yeah. Why did he go black and white with the?
You can ask him yourself. He has since if you
Speaking
look
of
on his
variant.
Instagram, I mean, he's really drifted more towards fine art. Most of these bootleg figures have he works in bronze and all sorts of other mediums. Most of this older work is not even online anymore, but
I like he's got the
It's a shame.
pin up. The
there's a
pin up
little
layer
pin
down
up
there.
Oh, I didn't even
Yeah.
notice that. That's funny.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah.
He does some really
Uh,
great work. He took a Millennium Falcon and melted it down so it's all deformed, and then cast that in bronze. And it's like this awesome, crazy little piece.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
cool.
I'm not sure I'm familiar with that guy.
He's great. Howden, I think it's Howden Art. Is his
Yeah.
Instagram. He's a really nice guy.
And we'll show all the Instagram
That sounds
handles.
familiar. Oh, that guy.
All right, and the very last one to top off our Boba Fett show part 1 is this was by Junk Fed and Battle Babies. This was Board of Fett.
Look at all the Boba Fett's in the picture.
And the Fets on the back are just hilarious. There's Boba
that-
Foot,
see-
Boba Regret, Rocky Balboba, which I think someone else made.
Yeah, I was gonna
There's
say,
the Boba Shop Quartet, Manitoba Fett, Boba Suffragette, Baguette, Boba Fajita Factory Playset, Boba Fettuccine.
I want the
Just-
Boba Fajita Factory playset. That's
Just and I guess on the front it says officially Sucklord rejected, and it made us cry.
that's a really
that's the Boba Fett multiverse movie that we're all clamoring for.
Oh, and what's funny is that Junk Fed and Battle
Look at the tagline.
and Battle Babies, it says Junk Fett and Boba Babies. And then as a little
Look at the tagline of the movie, though.
What does it say?
a long Fett ago in a galaxy Fett away. Wow. All right.
We
And
buried
then,
the lead. Closing with it.
yeah, along with it, they give you one of these,
The Boba Foot.
Boba Foot.
the Boba Foot. I'm surprised they
Wow.
didn't put a boot on it and call it like a Boba bootleg, but
I don't know. It's kind of wonderful in that Monty
I
Python.
like yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks like it does on the back of the card. Where it's
Yeah,
just-
amazing.
Hobbit Foot. That's amazing.
really fantastic. So anyway,
I
that
think
wraps up.
I think I need that. I think I need that Boba Foot.
You need the Boba Foot.
Yeah.
Well,
Gotta buy the whole thing.
I'm
yeah.
into it.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up Boba Fett, the Bootleg Boba Fett show, part 1. I want to thank you guys all for being
First
here.
up,
First off,
Yeah.
First
What
poll.
else?
And if you get working right now, with the Boba Fett bootleg right now, you might get it in
For episode 2.
in time for the
Yep.
last Boba
by
Fett
episode
show.
5, you might be in it.
Yeah.
Take that head,
Yeah.
slap it on a body,
Yeah, there you go.
come up with a
Boba
pun.
Fett's already taken.
Yeah, Boba
Yeah.
Fett's. There's a lot of the
Um,
puns are already done. It's rare that there's a pun that pops up that I. Though when I get taken by surprise by one, there's a couple.
It is fun when we do our reveal shows for the 3 conventions we do every year that someone comes up with a pun and then everyone's like, why didn't I think of that? Like, because it was just so obvious. So for anyone who goes to
I'm giving this out.
dketoys.com and if you write DKE Toys TV in the notes section with your order, we will give you a free invisible Sucklord figure. Also Boba Fett themed.
Dun dun dun.
Way to
Invisible.
tie it in.
There you go. Look at that.
There's the tray you can use to keep your
Beautiful.
Boba Fett upright.
That's true.
There's no rocket pack spot there on that one though.
Make sure to subscribe on YouTube at DKE Toys. Follow us on Instagram at DKE Toys. That is where we post all of the new things that come out for all the conventions. And if you're happy with the work we're doing, what it really helps us is a Google review for DKE Toys. And if you want to make comment of the show, you want to talk to Janky, dktoystv@gmail.com. Please subscribe, comment, and
What is a Google review? Where do you leave a Google review?
go to
Google, dummy.
Google?
You just
Yeah.
go to Google and say, I want to leave a review? Like, I've never seen a Google
There's
review.
Look up
Google
the
business
company.
pages. Yeah.
every company has a listing on Google. Like you just go to McDonald's and you say, I ate a burger, it made me sick. Bleh,
People
and
do
you-
Like, we
this?
could go and leave
Yeah.
4 Horsemen reviews if we wanted to.
Well, say nice things.
Speaking
though.
of which,
No.
Yeah.
Now George is worried.
Yeah, I didn't know this was a thing. Like, I gotta get out there.
well, this was all born because one guy left a bad review on Google for DKE, and then when you Google it, DKE only had it was like a 1-star review, and then you have to get like 35-star reviews to get it off of that 1 star. There's a whole thing.
All right,
Yeah,
I gotta
so-
go and
so
leave a
now-
Google review now.
Now there's a good.
So what I do, I Google DKE Toys, find the company, and leave a review.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll usually be on the right side. I think you
I'll
log into
figure it
Google.
out. I've never heard of such a thing. You'd say it like it's so nonchalant, like everybody does it. No one's ever done this.
I would
One
say
guy,
I would say it's the equivalent to like leaving a review on Yelp.
which is lame as well. Who does that?
We just gotta bring that number up.
That's all.
All right, we'll do
So
it. We'll do
The
it.
thing is, we're not allowed to be on Yelp because we don't have a business. While we have a business location, we're not open to the public. And so I've tried, and then once they find out, they destroy the.
Yelp is a racket anyway. Talk to Ben about it.
Yes, I've
Yeah.
know plenty of people on Yelp. But basically, if Yelp is like you pay and you get
Yeah.
good reviews, and if you don't pay,
They
You
fucking
suffer.
blacklist you.
Right.
yeah, it's a scam. So the next show is going to be artist
just
Luke
pay
Pimentel.
What's that?
The thing is, I don't think Google needs your money.
Damn it. We gotta legitimately leave good reviews. Come on,
Yeah.
people, let's do it.
Anyway,
Anyway.
the next show is Luke Pimentel. We're going to be going over the new
Beautiful.
hand-painted art pieces that he did for the In Action 3. Not In Action 3. What's it called? That's not what this show is. called.
Influential figures.
Influential Figures 3 In Action. That's the
That's the
Clutter
clutter
show.
one, right?
That's clutter.
yeah. Influential Figures Part 3, which is on at Gallery 1988 right now. If you go to the Gallery 1988 website. But we will have all of the hand-painted figures here in hand to show you. And talk to Lou for a few minutes. So that should be a lot of fun.
I can't wait to see.
Always does such an amazing job.
Got a loop piece right here, actually. Not Boba Fett, but it
Look
is-
at that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Scott Jenke, can you tell everyone where we can find you?
Oh, there's a Lou right there too.
Everyone's got loos all over their house.
Yeah,
Look at that one.
yeah, that's beautiful. I'm at Janky Toys on Instagram.
And go to barbarianrage.com. Thank you.
Don't sign up
Okay.
Do
for
it now.
Hey, George, where can people find you?
Double G Toys on Instagram is good.
And just so you know, George is a sculptor, and he has sculpted many a 3 3/4 inch action figures and 5.5 inch He-Man figures, and that's what he does. So if you're out there and you're thinking like, man, I need a figure
Am I a joke to you,
sculpted.
Dov? Am I a joke to you?
I'm a special guest, asshole, so he's trying to pimp it.
What did I do?
Scott's a sculptor too, and he just wants to have some stuff.
Scott, do you
It's
want
called
to
credit.
Scott, do you want to sculpt things for other people?
I sculpt the things, you buy them. That's how that works. It's called barbarianrage.com. Thank you.
That's right.
Then no complaining.
So that is Scott is like the last person I'm going to send a client to. Like, hey, I need something sculpted. Yeah, call Scott Cherry. He'll be like, "Fuck you! It's going to look like this."
Yeah.
That was a good Scott.
It's a barbarian rage toy.
Yeah.
Don't you
like-
dare!
You like D&D because that's what you're getting. Fuck you.
Everyone's got an impression of me. George?
All right, guys. Thank you to everybody. I really
Go
appreciate
hire George though. He's good.
Oh, shit.
Oh man.
Yes, indeed.
that
All right,
guy.
guys. Thank you again. Have a great night.
Bye.
Stay fat, cheese fets.
Were you planning that one for like 2 weeks?
No, I was playing that for the last 20 minutes.
That's worth it.
Oh.